Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we drove a Shadow Sword variant of a Baneblade through a very large defensive line for Chaos, and now we have to go to the Silent Astropath Relay Station. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. There we go. Follow the trail of Flavius Draken. The Astropath Relay, that's for Dark Eldar. Level up last time, so we're gonna quick lightning round through that and see what we can slap on this character. Suppression damage. All suppression damage, huh? Don't really want any of that. Yeah, let's do that. Bonus damage against slowed, shocked, and stunned targets, since I do a good amount of everything. The situation on Nearest 3 is worse than I had expected. The traitors of the Alpha Legion decimated the Imperial defenders at the capital. It will be a real challenge to track down an Inquisitor under these circumstances. The Imperial Command Center is the last known location of Inquisitor Draken. I will try to fight my way through the occupied area.
I have arrived too late. The enemy has already captured the command center. There must be some evidence of what happened to the defenders. I'm on my way.
No, I didn't realize how big an AoE this gun actually has. That's useful. Yeah, I don't really have any topics planned out, so the only thing I can think of is I saw some of the new models for the Primaris Space Marines a couple days ago, and I don't know what Games Workshop is doing, because all of the vehicles are now... Loading. They're all hover vehicles. We've seen that now, you know. You got your grav tanks and fancy stuff like that. But then, on top of that, they made all of the... They made the scout vehicles have wheels, which I have to laugh at because, God, what were they? The scout vehicles were like an air speeder kind of thing. They'd be essentially like a two-man car that hovers. For some reason, the name is just lost on me right now, but those were the only hover vehicles for standard Space Marines. And now, those are, at least currently, the only wheeled vehicles for Primaris Marines. It feels like, within lore, it feels like the Elsarius Call was just like, yeah, let's just flip everything. Things with wheels and treads hover, and things that hover have wheels and treads. And then for Games Workshop themselves, I can't even be like, oh, this makes sense, or even doesn't make sense in a lore bit. It's just kind of dumb. I mean, having a hover scout vehicle provides so many advantages over a wheeled vehicle. The obvious one being terrain means nothing. The only thing I can think of is Games Workshop was like, yeah, we just want to make a new model to sell. Which I get. You know, you gotta keep making money somehow. But I feel like you could probably find a way to make money and sell stuff that doesn't seem stupid. I mean, off the top of my head, I'd say sell models for cheaper, so people are more incentivized to actually play. You'll get more money through that than anything else.
Pain is salvation.
Another one I would say is maybe have your rulebook be cheaper and bundle it with a lot of like the start collecting sets, but then have more scenario books and such be available, and try to focus on selling those to people. Bring back some old terrain.
Guilty of heresy.
People are never going to say no to terrain pieces. Bundle some of the terrain pieces you can get in like some of the kill team stuff. Sell a separate version of it as well. Because I think that's a big issue, is the lack of reasonably priced terrain. I mean, seriously, have you looked at the cost of terrain for 40K? It's stupid. That's why when I look online, no matter where I am online, I always see people who are just like, yeah, I just free build my own terrain. Because, you know, I can slap some quick plastic and some extra skulls and crap I have laying around onto a tin can, paint it, and it looks like a better building than some of the models, and it's, you know, incredibly cheap. And going with that, I'd say sell some, have more just bundles of bits you can buy. Just a bunch of random parts. And let people utilize it for however they want. Because, I mean, I see that with a lot of people do kit bashing. Well, it kind of sucks if you have to buy a full set just for one thing. But if you sell, you know, smaller things, you're going to incentivize people to do more kit bashing. So they're likely... I figured they would probably be more willing to buy more full sets. Because then it's like, oh, you know, I'll kit bash a Army of Space Marines, and then I'll do it for a group of Imperial Guard, and maybe a group of Chaos. Instead of, oh, well, I need to buy this Chaos set so I can kit bash a bit for my Imperial Guard. But the cost total is so high, I'm not going to buy more Space Marines to collect, simply because it's just so expensive. Go to the side here quick. But you know, that's just me. I feel like if you provide more cheap alternatives or cheap options for people, more people will get involved.
I'm at the communication center. I'll check the logs for the last few Vox messages. The situation is very grave. The traitor Marines have destroyed the defenses. I even found a knight on the list of casualties. The traitors took prisoners. I'm going to rescue them. There is still hope that someone has information about Draken.
But yeah, I just feel like there needs to be better options for players to get involved in Warhammer. Otherwise, you're just not going to get people. Because it always falls back on cost. You know, cost is a big selling point or a big crippling point, especially for a tabletop game like Warhammer. Because it's never just the cost of the models. It's getting the cost of the models, then you gotta make them, you gotta paint them. I mean, you can go without paint, but you still have to assemble the things. And it becomes time and money and effort. And so you gotta kind of... You have to find some spot in that trio of needs that you can alleviate. You either need to make them easier to make, so you can make them faster. You either need to make them cheaper, or you need to make them pre-built. I personally wouldn't... I can see a reason for pre-builds. People who want to just get in and don't care about customization past paint, it's not an issue. People who care about full-on customization, then you can start seeing where people might have a complaint. That's just why I think making them cheaper is the best option. I mean, already we see Chinese companies just 3D print existing models, and you can buy them for way cheaper. Would I trust them? Nah. It's Chinese made. The plastic probably has like lead and asbestos in it. But if you're, trying to ball on a budget here, you take what you can get. Especially when you look at, like, a Baneblade. Baneblade, last I checked, Baneblades were like $200. I'm sorry. One tank that I'm going to use should not be $200. Especially when the thing is made of plastic. If that thing, had components to make it light up, make sounds, and do a bunch of other crap, maybe I could see a higher price. But $200 for a disassembled plastic tank? That is a very steep cost. And you can make the argument, well, you don't really need a Baneblade. Yeah, but for Imperial Guard, you kind of need heavier vehicles. So, what's your options? Leman Russ? Well, you're gonna have to shell out for a Leman Russ. They can be pretty pricey. Basilisk Artillery? Medusa Artillery? That's gonna cost you, I'd say, $40 to $80 probably. Chimeras? Well, you can get Chimeras kind of cheap, but in terms of actual viability, they don't have the stopping power a Leman Russ has. So at that point, you're potentially sacrificing army quality, and that kind of sucks. There's also the existing issue of not every army is supported right now. I mean, last I heard, the Legion of the Damned got their models discontinued. Which, for a company trying to make money by selling models, ceasing production of models is not how you make money. be trying to produce even more than current. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit longer to do, you know, a new edition, but that's fine. I'd rather have a new edition take another year or two to come out than have it be rushed, have to have a bunch of updates to it, and then have, you know, a number of armies not supported for a year or two, if at all. But, you know, in the end, that's just me. What do I know, you know? I'm just a dude on the internet. Plus, do they even do Horus Heresy stuff anymore, or did that get dropped too? Because I don't remember seeing anything for that in a while. I never really cared too much about Horus Heresy. Like, the stuff looks cool. The pre-Chaos Thousand Suns models I really liked. But that's really it. It was that and some of the vehicles that you don't really get to see anymore. Or vehicles that are canonically said to be like just relics because no one found an STC to remake them. Yeah, you can see a like almost 30-point damage spike when I hit one of these guys after stunning them. That's not bad. And then it looks like a 11-point spike when using this needle rifle. That's pretty solid for just a one-time 5% boost. And I can bump that, I think, to 15%, I want to say. That is definitely not a bad skill point investment. So that gives me a lot of damage output. Especially when it's effectively caused by me just shooting. I don't have to use any special abilities or mess with anything. I just have to hit a target and land consecutive hits. Which, with this gun, that's entirely the name of the game, is consecutive hits.
Eradicated.
And when you look at it, it's that little bit of damage boost, plus all the damage over time, plus the rapid fire hits, the occasional crit, which I'm gonna keep doing what I did and bump up the damage while enemies are impaired, but then after that I'm definitely gonna double back and boost my crit chance. Because even if my crit rate, or not my crit rate, but my crit strength isn't that good? Being able to deal a ton of crits should be pretty useful. Especially if I get any on-crit abilities. That's gonna save me a lot of time and effort. Plus, I mean, crits are more damage. There's no two ways around that. It's useful no matter what you're doing. That's what really sucks about playing the Tech Priest. He has 0 crit chance, and it cannot be improved. I get it, because honestly, one of the plasma calibers, you hit a target, it splits into 3 shots, and hits the closest 3 targets.
Purified.
Within reason, like you can't just cross-map people, but it's still got a good amount of range on it. So you're kind of put into this position of like, well, I can kind of BS this because I have so many units that can do damage, but at the same time, I really enjoy being able to just flatten dudes with crits. But I mean, that weapon alone, oh, you get 3 hits. It's a big payout for a basic weapon effect. And then not to mention how many summons I can get. If I wanted to, I could run... what? Each group of... because there's a couple different units. There's little drones that shoot, and every one you summon 2. So at most, with all the abilities and everything, I could summon 10? 8 or 10. That's a pretty hefty boost to DPS, and if all of those could crit, you're looking at, let's say they have 1 attack per second, even though they have far more. You would have 10 attacks per second, not including your own attacks, and if they all shared your crit rate, they could, you could ball out of control. And I mean, your damage output would be insane, and that's not even including things like vulnerabilities, or if you have any like relic effects from like a relic weapon. Like I said, you could go pretty hard into it.
Still alive. And brainwash them into servitude. They will pay for this.
Pop that chest.
Praise the Emperor! You have saved us all from a terrible fate, Inquisitor.
I'm only doing the Emperor's work. I must find Draken. Is he here?
Inquisitor Draken had to make a decision, and he made it with a very heavy heart. When he realized that the city could not be saved, but the rest of our world still has a fighting chance, he has returned to his fortress. He is keeping the main Chaos forces occupied until reinforcements arrive.
Okay, that guy's not gonna come help me. Okay, cool. Thanks, bruh. You know, you have a plasma gun, but nah. I'll just go alone. Yeah, and I've heard some people say that you can do like a near perma-stealth build on this character, which is kind of cool, but I always hate that because it's kind of cheap.
Ambrose Caradoc, the pilot of the Crimson Wanderer, at your service.
Well met, sir. You are a Freeblade, aren't you?
A lonesome warrior reporting for duty, Sir Caradoc, roaming the sector, fighting our enemies, and aiding the helpless.
Did the traitorous scum really destroy your knight?
They had something more obscene in mind. But that would have taken longer, and I know in my heart that the Crimson Wanderer is still waiting for me in the hangar.
And another man just spawned out of his butt. Hey, and that random guardsman is helping. I mean, he's not gonna help much, he's one guardsman with a las gun, but he's helping me in spirit.
Eradicated.
Fall back, guardsman. Or don't, you can... And he's dead. Ah, classic guardsman. That's always the kicker with guardsmen too. Like, the las guns aren't bad against normal people, they just suck against, you know, space marines, necrons, anything big. And then on top of that, you know, there's the issue of, even if their weapons were better, their armor sucks. It's some kind of like ceramic plate, so against a standard bullet, it should absorb a hit and should be able to absorb a little bit of las damage. But when you're fighting, you know, space marines that fire 50 caliber gyro jets at you, you just kinda die.
Loading.
There's not much you can really do about that. Yeah, you know, you have to go back to the pilot and talk to him.
I must reach Draken's fortress immediately.
You need to cross the city to get there, and it has become a ruined battlefield, crawling with armies of monstrosities. But don't lose heart, Inquisitor. The true gifts of the Emperor come at the most unexpected moments.
What do you have in mind, Sir Caradoc?
This is a quest worthy of the Crimson Wanderer. I will take it upon myself to fight my way through the battlefield and clear your way to the fortress.
Alright. So, that's a pretty good stopping point. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. If you are new, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.